Hello, bonjour, and welcome. My name is Erin Larose. I am Anishinaabe from Kitigan-Zibi, located in Maniwaki, Quebec. I work with the Canada Revenue Agency in the Indigenous Services Directorate, Outreach and Partnerships section, and I'm very happy to be here today to talk with you about benefit and credit payments that you could be eligible for and how to apply for them. I will also explain how filing your taxes each year helps to ensure that you keep getting these benefits. I would like to acknowledge that here in Ottawa, we are on the traditional and unceded territory of the Algonquin and Anishinaabe people. Since we are meeting virtually, I would also like to acknowledge the land that you are located on and take a moment of silence and respect. Today, we will cover commonly used terminology, tax-exempt income, the benefits and credits you may be eligible for, the Northern Residence Deduction, the different ways to do your taxes, the simplified tax and benefit package for Indigenous peoples, and the importance of keeping your personal information updated with the Canada Revenue Agency. I will conclude today's presentation by going over the CRA's digital services, like My Account, and give you tools to protect yourself from scams. For the rest of this presentation, I'll refer to the Canada Revenue Agency as the CRA. First, let's go over some of the terminology used in this webinar. For the purposes of the tax exemption under Section 87 of the Indian Act, the CRA uses the term Indian because it has a legal meaning under the Indian Act. Individuals who are Indians, as defined in the Indian Act, are often referred to as status Indians. Indigenous people may have income that is considered tax exempt under Section 87 of the Indian Act. Otherwise, Indigenous people are subject to the same tax rules as any other resident in Canada. Here are a few more commonly used terms. A reserve, as defined by the Indian Act, means a tract of land, the legal title to which is held by the Crown, set apart for the use and benefit of an Indian band. An Indian band is defined as a body of Indians for whose collective use and benefit the Crown has set apart land or money, or who have been declared to be a band for the purpose of the Indian Act. If you need help determining if land is on a reserve, visit the Crown Indigenous Relations and Northern Affairs Canada webpage at canada.ca/crown-indigenous-relations-northern-affairs. To find out if you are entitled to be registered under the Indian Act and how to apply for Indian status, go to the Indigenous Services Canada webpage at canada.ca/Indian-status. Now that we have gone over some terminology used in the webinar, let's look at tax-exempt income. Some or all of your employment income may be considered tax-exempt according to Section 87 of the Indian Act. There are some factors to consider when determining if your employment income is exempt, including if you are registered or entitled to be registered under the Indian Act, where you live, where your employer is located, where your work is done. If you are entitled to be registered as an Indian, your personal property, including your income, is tax exempt if it is earned or situated on a reserve. Your income may also be tax exempt if you work on a reserve but don't live there. Even if your income is tax exempt, doing your taxes is key to getting your benefit and credit payments. This is true even if you had no income during the year. If you are married or in a common law relationship, your partner must file their taxes every year. The tax exemption is applied according to the terms as defined in the Indian Act. If your employment income is exempt from income tax under Section 87 of the Indian Act, meaning you are a status Indian and you worked on a reserve, then your employment-related income will also be exempt. These forms of employment-related income include employment insurance benefits, Canada Pension Plan benefits, Quebec Pension Plan benefits, registered pension plan benefits, retiring allowances, and wage loss replacement plan benefits. The following income sources are not tax exempt. The amounts you receive from old age security benefits, including the guaranteed income supplement, are not eligible for the tax exemption under Section 87 of the Indian Act. These payments are considered to be off reserve because they are not related to previous employment and are not connected to a reserve. Your U.S. Social Security benefits or your U.S. pension do not qualify for the exemption under Section 87 of the Indian Act, even if you live on a reserve in Canada. These incomes or the employment it was originally connected to are not connected to a reserve in Canada. For more information on tax-exempt employment-related income and non-exempt income, visit canada.ca/section 87-tax-exemption or call 1-800-959-8281. You may be eligible for benefit and credit payments that the CRA administers, such as the Canada Child Benefit, the Goods and Services Tax Harmonized Sales Tax Credit, more commonly known as the GST-HST credit, the Canada Workers Benefit, the Disability Tax Credit, the Child Disability Benefit, the Multi-Generational Home Renovation Tax Credit, the Canada Dental Benefit, the Climate Action Incentive Payment. You may also be eligible for related federal, provincial, or territorial payments. Let's begin with the Canada Child Benefit, or CCB for short. The CCB is a tax-free monthly payment made to the primary caregiver to help with the cost of raising children under 18. The primary caregiver is the person who is primarily responsible for the care and upbringing of the child and who should apply for the CCB. A primary caregiver can be the child's mother, father, grandparent, another family member, or someone else who is responsible for their care and upbringing. Each year, it may provide up to $7,437 for each child in your care under 6 years of age, and up to $6,275 for each child aged 6 to 17. You need to apply for all children in your household if you have not already applied previously and nobody is receiving it for them. Payments are based on the number of children in your care, their ages, your income, and your marital status. The CRA calculates benefit payments every July based on information from each parent's or common law partner's tax return from the year before. This is why it's important for both individuals to do their taxes on time every year, even if they have no income or exempt income. Otherwise, their CCB payments could be interrupted. Applying for the CCB will also register the child for any related federal, provincial, or territorial programs. To be eligible for the CCB, you must meet all of the following conditions. You must live with the child, and the child must be under 18. You must be primarily responsible for the care and upbringing of the child. And you must be a resident of Canada for tax purposes. You or your spouse or common law partner must also be one of the following: a Canadian citizen, a permanent resident, a protected person, a temporary resident who has lived in Canada for the previous 18 months and who has a valid permit in the 19th month, or an individual who is registered or entitled to be registered under the Indian Act. You are primarily responsible for the care and upbringing of the child if you supervise the child's daily activities and needs, make sure the child's medical needs are met, and arrange for childcare when necessary. You may get the CCB if you live with and care for a child under a kinship or close relationship program from the governments of Canada, a province, a territory, or Indigenous governing body. You are not considered the person who is primarily responsible if the child is legally, physically, or financially maintained by a child welfare agency. If this is the case, the agency may receive the children's special allowance for their care. You should apply for the CCB as soon as possible after the child is born. After a child starts to live with you, or as soon as you or your spouse or common law partner meet the eligibility conditions. You should apply even if you share custody of a child or a child is living with you for a determined temporary period of time. If you meet all the eligibility criteria that I just mentioned, you can apply for the CCB in one of 4 ways. You can use the automated benefits application when you register your newborn's birth with the province or territory. With your consent, the information on your birth registration form will be shared securely with the CRA. You can use the Apply for Children Benefits feature in the CRA's online portal, My Account. You can fill out Form RC66, Canada Child Benefit Application, and send it to the CRA. Or you can also apply using the Canada Child Benefit for Indigenous Peoples form. This form is a part of a simplified tax and benefits package for Indigenous people. I will speak more about this later. If you do not apply using the automated applications, you will need to provide proof of your child's birth, like a birth certificate or passport. You can do this using a paper application or through My Account. Note that the automated benefits application is not available in the territory of Nunavut. You should only apply once. Reapplying using a different method may cause a delay in getting your payments. You don't have to reapply every year, but you and your spouse or common law partner, if applicable, must do your taxes every year. If you have another child after you've applied, you will need to apply for that child and any subsequent children. Also, if you were eligible for the CCB for prior years and had not applied previously, you can request a retroactive payment for a period of up to 10 years. Do you share custody of your child? A child is in a shared custody situation when the child lives part-time with you and part-time with another individual at a different address at least 40% of the time. For example, a child could live 4 days with one person, 3 days with another, or 1 week with one person and the next week with the other. When the child lives with them, both people must be primarily responsible for the child's care and upbringing. Each eligible person will get half of the payment they would have received if the child lived with them full-time. If your child lives with you and the other parent in the same home, you are not in a shared custody situation. For more information on the Canada Child Benefit, go to canada.ca/Canada-child-benefit or call the Benefits Inquiry Line at 1-800-387-1193. If you are a resident of the territories with an 867 area code, please call 1-866-426-1527. Next, we'll talk about one of the CRA's most common credits, the Goods and Services Tax, Harmonized Sales Tax Credit, more commonly known as the GST-HST credit. The GST-HST credit is a quarterly tax-free payment for people with low and modest incomes. It helps offset the GST or HST they pay on goods and services. To get it, all you have to do is file your taxes every year, even if you have no income to report or tax-exempt income. The CRA will confirm if you are eligible and how much you will get when you do your taxes. If you are married or have a common law partner, only one of you will receive the GST-HST credit. The amount will be the same no matter who gets it. For more information on the GST-HST credit, visit canada.ca/GST-HST-credit. The Canada Workers Benefit, or CWB for short, is a refundable tax credit that provides a financial boost to individuals and families who are in the workforce and earning a low income. It puts more money in the pockets of those who work to help them cope with the rising cost of living. The CWB has two parts: a basic amount and a disability supplement for those with an approved disability tax credit certificate. The maximum CWB amount will be different for residents of Alberta, Nunavut, and Quebec. Let's look into the eligibility for the Canada Workers Benefit. In addition to having earned working income, you must be a resident of Canada for income tax purposes throughout the year and 19 or older on December 31st. However, you may be eligible if you are under 19 and resided with your spouse or common law partner or your child on December 31st. You cannot claim the Canada Workers Benefit if you were enrolled as a full-time student as a designated educational institution for a total of more than 13 weeks in the year, unless you had an eligible dependent at the end of the year. If you were confined to a prison or similar institution for a period of at least 90 days during the year, or if you don't have to pay tax in Canada because you are an officer or servant of another country, such as a diplomat, or you are a family member or employee of that person. If you are married or have a common law partner, only one of you will receive the CWB for your family. You claim the Canada Workers Benefit when you do your taxes. If you use tax software, it will automatically calculate the Canada Workers Benefit for you. If you file on paper, you need to fill out the Schedule 6, Canada Workers Benefit, found in the tax package for your province or territory. As of July 2023, the CWB is issued by quarterly automatic payments to people who were entitled to the benefit in the previous year. If you choose to include exempt income, you must include you and your spouse's or common law partner's exempt income, if applicable, in the calculation of the working income and of the adjusted family net income in order to calculate your CWB. For more information on the Canada Workers Benefit and the Disability Supplement, visit canada.ca/Canada-Workers-Benefit. The Disability Tax Credit, DTC for short, is a non-refundable tax credit that helps persons with disabilities or their supporting family members. That means this tax credit reduces your tax payable if you have any. If the credit reduces the tax you are supposed to pay to zero, you won't get anything extra as a refund. A supporting family member is someone who the person with a disability depends on for at least one of the basic necessities of life: food, shelter, and clothing. This can be a spouse or common law partner, parent, grandparent, child, grandchild, brother, sister, uncle, aunt, niece, or nephew of the person with the disability. The purpose of the DTC is to provide some relief for unavoidable additional expenses that result from living with a disability. It helps to offset costs that other taxpayers don't have to face. Applying for the DTC involves the person who has the impairment, disability, and a medical practitioner who can certify the effects of the impairment. Even if you do not have taxable income, there still may be other benefits to applying for the DTC. If you think you may be eligible, you should apply. Being approved for the DTC can open the door to other federal, provincial, or territorial programs, such as the Registered Disability Savings Plan, the Canada Workers Benefit Disability Supplement, and the Child Disability Benefit. There are a variety of medical conditions that can qualify for the DTC. To find out if your situation may qualify for the DTC, go to canada.ca/disability-tax-credit. Note that individuals who have type 1 diabetes now meet the eligibility criteria under the life-sustaining therapy category. The Child Disability Benefit is paid monthly to the person who receives the Canada Child Benefit for that child. A valid disability tax credit certificate is required to receive the Child Disability Benefit. The Child Disability Benefit is for families who care for a child under 18 who is eligible for the CCB and the DTC. It is a tax-free payment of up to $3,173 annually. If you are already receiving the CCB for a child in your care who is approved for the DTC, you do not need to apply for the Child Disability Benefit. It will be automatically included with your CCB payments. If the child is determined to be eligible for prior years, the Child Disability Benefit will automatically be issued for up to 2 previous CCB benefit years. For years before that, you will need to send a written request to the attention of the CCB entitlement team at the tax center that serves your area. For more information on the Child Disability Benefit, go to canada.ca/child-disability-benefit. The Multi-Generational Home Renovation Tax Credit is a new refundable tax credit. It can be claimed on your income tax and benefit return starting in tax year 2023. If you are eligible, you can claim this credit for certain renovation expenses spent to create a self-contained secondary unit. The secondary unit must allow an adult 65 years of age or older, or an adult who is eligible for the disability tax credit, to live with a qualifying relative. A qualifying relative is both 18 years of age or older at the end of the tax year that the credit is being claimed for, a parent, grandparent, child, grandchild, brother, sister, aunt, uncle, niece, or nephew of the qualifying individual, or the qualifying individual's cohabitating spouse or common law partner at any time in the renovation period tax year. You can claim up to $50,000 in qualifying expenditures for each qualifying renovation completed. The tax credit is 15% of your costs, up to a maximum of $7,500 for each claim you are eligible to make. For more information, go to canada.ca/CRA-MHRTC. The Canada Dental Benefit provides financial support for families who have an adjusted family net income of less than $90,000 and have out-of-pocket dental care expenses for their children under 12. Depending on your adjusted family net income, your non-taxable Canada Dental Benefit payments could be as high as $650 per child under 12 years old per benefit period. If you are a parent or guardian of eligible children under 12 years old, you will have to attest that your child does not have access to private dental insurance, and your child's dental costs are not fully covered by another dental program provided by any level of government. In order to apply, remember that you need to be receiving the Canada Child Benefit for the child. Your taxes must be up to date, and you must keep your receipts or records from your dental appointments for 6 years. The second and final benefit period covers dental care services your child received or will receive between July 1st, 2023 and June 30th, 2024. You have until June 30th, 2024 to apply for this period. The quickest, easiest, most secure way to apply for the Canada Dental Benefit is through My Account. If you apply online and are signed up for direct deposit, you could receive your payment within 5 business days. If you are unable to apply online or would prefer to call us, you can apply by calling 1-800-715-8836. Visit canada.ca/dental and access more information on the Canada Dental Benefit. The Canadian Dental Care Plan will still help ease financial barriers to accessing oral health care for eligible Canadian residents with an annual adjusted family net income of less than $90,000 who do not have access to dental insurance. You may be eligible to apply for the new Canadian Dental Care Plan if you have an adjusted family net income of less than $90,000, do not have access to dental insurance, have filed a tax return the previous year. Applications will roll out in phases starting with seniors. If you are over 70 years old, you may receive a letter by March 2024 with instructions on how to apply. If you are between 65 and 69, you can apply online starting May 2024. Adults with a valid disability tax credit certificate and children under 18 can apply starting in June 2024. All remaining eligible Canadian residents between the ages of 18 and 64 will be able to apply online starting in 2025. For more information, scan the QR code on the screen using your cell phone camera. This QR code takes you directly to the canada.ca/dental webpage. Just like the GST-HST credit, you may also be eligible to receive the Climate Action Incentive Payment when you turn 19. The Climate Action Incentive Payment is a tax-free amount paid to help individuals and families offset the cost of the federal pollution pricing. It is available to residents of Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, Ontario, New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, Newfoundland and Labrador, and Prince Edward Island. It consists of a basic amount and a supplement for residents of small and rural communities. The payment is issued in quarterly tax-free payments made through the benefit system. The amount you receive depends on your family situation and the province where you live. Like the GST-HST credit, to get the Climate Action Incentive Payment, all you have to do is file your taxes every year, even if you have no income to report. For more information, go to canada.ca/CAI-payment. In addition to the benefits and credits we have covered today, you may also be eligible to claim the Northern Residence Deductions. To claim the Northern Residence Deductions, fill out and send Form T2222, Northern Residence Deductions, to the CRA along with your tax return. The Northern Residence Deductions consist of a residency deduction and a travel deduction. These deductions help with the cost of living and traveling in the North. You can claim these deductions if you lived in a prescribed northern zone or a prescribed intermediate zone permanently for a continuous period of at least 6 consecutive months, beginning or ending in the tax year. There are 2 parts to the residency deduction: a basic residency amount and an additional residency amount. Claim the basic residency amount for the number of days you lived in a prescribed zone. You can also claim these same days for the additional residency amount if you maintained and lived in a dwelling in a prescribed zone and you are the only person claiming the basic residency amount for that same dwelling. If you need more information or help with northern zones or deductions, income tax or benefits, please call the CRA at 1-800-959-8281. We also have a northern dedicated line for residents of the territories with an 867 area code. That number is 1-866-426-1527. Complete and send Form T2222 to the CRA along with your tax return. The maximum travel deduction you can claim for each eligible trip is the lowest of the taxable travel benefits received from employment or the portion of $1,200 standard amount for the person traveling allocated for the trip, the total travel expenses paid for the trip, the lowest return airfare, which refers to the cost of the cheapest round-trip airfare available at that time travel began, between the airport closest to the claimant's residence and the nearest designated city. Note that you can claim the travel deduction for you or your eligible family members' personal or medical travel, even if no one received a taxable travel benefit for that trip, even if you do not claim a deduction for residency. Keep all the receipts and documents to support your claim for at least 6 years in case the CRA reviews your tax return. These documents include the cost of the lowest return airfare, receipts and other documents to support the travel expenses paid for each trip. Travel expenses can include accommodations, meals, train, taxi, or bus fares, vehicle expenses, and other incidental expenses. There are at least two methods you can determine the lowest return airfare. One, the existing method of tracking it yourself. Using this method, you will be required to identify the cheapest round-trip airfare available when travel began, between the airport closest to your residence and the nearest designated city. Two, the Simplified Northern Resident Travel Deduction Pilot Project introduced a new tool, the lowest return airfare tables. You just use the amount in the table for when you traveled and pick the airport closest to your residence. The new airfare tables can easily help you determine the lowest return airfare and don't require you to submit any support documents. However, all other expenses still need to be supported. The airfare tables provide the lowest level of return economy airfares for eligible airports, almost all of which are operating in the prescribed zones. For more information on the lowest return airfare tables, please go to canada.ca/lowest-return-airfare. The key to receiving your benefits and credits is doing your taxes on time. This year, you can file your 2023 tax return starting on February 19th. Filing your taxes is the only way to get the many benefits and credits that are calculated based on your income, such as the GST/HST credit. So even if you don't earn any income in the year, or your income was tax exempt, we need this information. The deadline to do your taxes is generally April 30th for every year. Filing by then allows us to calculate your payments and send them to you on time. There are a few ways to do your taxes. You can do your taxes online. This is the fastest way, as tax returns filed electronically are typically processed within 2 weeks. Certified software is available to make online filing easy, and some software products are even free. The tax software guides you and calculates everything for you. It helps make sure you don't miss out on any benefits and credits. For more information, go to canada.ca/netfile. Please note, if the CRA does not have your complete date of birth on record, you may not be able to do your taxes online. Make sure to also sign up for direct deposit. So if you are eligible for a refund, you can receive it faster. Volunteers may be able to help you do your taxes for free. There are tax clinics hosted by community organizations across Canada for those with a modest income and simple tax situations. For more information, go to canada.ca/get-tax-help. You can also get help from a family member, a friend, or a tax preparer. Or you can download a tax package, fill out the paper forms, and mail them to the CRA. You must use the package for the province or territory you lived in on December 31st. Filing a tax return by paper can take up to 10 to 12 weeks to process. To get a package, go to canada.ca/taxes-general-package or call the CRA at 1-855-330-3305. There is also the Simplified Tax and Benefit Package that is available to all Indigenous people. The goal is to make it easier to do your taxes and provide more convenient access to services. It includes 2 forms, an information sheet and a return envelope. The first form is the simple file. Let us help you get your benefits. credit and benefit short return. This form is a simplified version of the individual income tax and benefit return. It gives the CRA the information needed to calculate your benefits and credits, such as the GST-HST credit and the Canada Workers Benefit. The second is the Canada Child Benefit for Indigenous People form. This form helps eligible individuals receive the CCB for the children in their home. Please note that the image shown on screen is the Ontario form, but forms vary from province or territory. To use the simplified return, you must meet the eligibility criteria listed on the form. Simplified paper forms will be available this spring to help make tax filing process this season easier for eligible Indigenous people. These forms are not available to download. To get one, contact your local Friendship Center, community representative, band council office, or Northern Service Center. If they don't have any forms on hand, they can order them for you. If you need help completing the short return, or if you have any questions, call the number on the form. You may be eligible to have your taxes done by a volunteer at a free tax clinic if you have a modest income and a simple tax situation. The program is called the Community Volunteer Income Tax Program. In Quebec, it is known as the Income Tax Assistance Volunteer Program. You're eligible to have your taxes done through the program if you have a modest income and a simple tax situation. Generally, a modest income is less than $35,000 for a single person and less than $45,000 for a couple. Your tax situation is simple if, for example, you don't have a small business or income from a rental property. Tax clinics are held all year. However, most clinics are offered in March and April. To find a clinic near you, go to canada.ca/get-tax-help. The CRA will sometimes send you a questionnaire or letter if we need more information to make sure you're getting the right benefits and credits. If you get one of these letters, please respond as soon as possible. Don't ignore it. Often, we will ask for documents to confirm that the CRA has the most up-to-date information for you, like your marital status, proof that you are the primary caregiver of a child, or your address. If you don't have the documents, need some extra time to gather them, or don't understand what we're asking, just let the CRA know. The CRA needs this information to calculate your benefits and credits. If you don't respond, your benefits and credit payments will stop, and you may have to repay the payments you already received. You may receive a phone call or a letter from the CRA that says you owe money. The CRA understands that people may find it hard to pay their debts related to taxes and benefits. Paying your debt in full by the due date helps you avoid interest and other legal and financial consequences. However, if you can't pay, give us a call. Ignoring your debt does not make it go away. We're here to help and have flexible payment options available. Our online payment arrangement calculator can help you come up with a payment arrangement plan. After reviewing your financial details, the CRA will work with you to determine the amount and length of the payment arrangement. If you do not call or make a payment arrangement, the CRA may take legal action to collect the balance. To make a payment arrangement, call the CRA at 1-888-863-8657. If you're ready to make a payment in full, you can use online banking or the CRA's My Payment and My Account services. You can also make a payment in person at your financial institution or at a Canada Post location. Please note that participating Canada Post locations may charge a service fee. Or you can send a check or money order to the CRA. Please do not send cash to the CRA if you're making a payment by mail. For more information, visit canada.ca/payments. We know that some situations can affect your access to benefits and credits, but we're here to help. You will never need to contact an abusive spouse or common law partner to provide information to the CRA. If you are in a situation of abuse or violence and cannot get the requested documents, you can send any of the following: a letter from a trusted third party explaining your situation. For example, the letter can be from a member of a band council, a shelter, a resettlement office, or a member of the clergy. A copy of a restraining order or an order of protection, or a copy of a police report. After you've submitted any of the mentioned documents, no additional action is needed on your part. Along with doing your taxes every year, you must keep your personal information up to date to keep getting benefits and credits. This includes your address, your marital, residency, and citizenship status, children in your care, and your direct deposit information. You can update this information using the CRA's My Account, My Benefits CRA, and My CRA mobile applications by mail, or an agent can assist you by phone. If you don't have a permanent home and are staying in a shelter, you can use the shelter's address to keep getting your payments and mail from the CRA. If you move, let us know your new address right away. Otherwise, your payments may stop. Call the CRA General Inquiries line at 1-800-959-8281. And if you are a resident of the territories with an 867 area code, call the dedicated individual and benefit inquiries line at 1-866-426-1527. You can also update your address online using My Account, the My Benefits CRA, or My CRA mobile application, or by mail. There are many reasons you may have an uncashed check from the CRA. It may have been lost, stolen, destroyed, or you may have moved and not updated your address. You can view any uncashed checks in My Account and, if necessary, ask for a duplicate payment. CRA checks never expire or become stale dated, and you can cash them for free at any financial institution in Canada. Never miss another payment by signing up for direct deposit. Your bank teller can also help you register for direct deposit. For more information, go to canada.ca/CRA-uncashed-checks. Once you do your taxes for the first time and you receive your notice of assessment, you can register for the CRA's My Account. My Account is a secure portal that lets you view your personal income tax and benefit information and manage your individual tax affairs online on your own. Along with doing your taxes every year, you must keep your personal information up to date to keep getting benefits and credits. You can instantly update all this information on your own through My Account. You can also track your refund, view or change your return, view your mail online, such as your notice of assessments, check your benefit and credit payments and statements, view any uncashed checks, and more. To register for my account, go to canada.ca/my-cra-account. Taxpayer information is confidential. The CRA needs your permission to deal with another person, such as a family member, friend, or an accountant, who may act as your representative for income tax and benefit matters. You can give permission to another person in my account or on paper by filling out Form AUT-01, authorize a representative for offline access, and sending it to the CRA. Make sure to choose someone you can trust. Remember to check your account if you have changed tax preparers or representatives. This ensures that only the people you want to have access to your account can do so. You don't need to authorize someone as a representative if that person is only doing your taxes. The CRA created the Northern Service Centers to provide year-round support to individuals and businesses in the Yukon, Northwest Territories, and Nunavut. The Northern Service Centers, which are in the same building as Service Canada, are located in Whitehorse, Yellowknife, and Iqaluit. Employees at the Northern Service Centers conduct outreach visits to support individuals, businesses, and the community. Employees operating from the Northern Service Centers will support individuals and community organizations through outreach visits and in the centers by directing clients to free tax clinics, directing clients to the Liaison Officer Program, which for small businesses and self-employed individuals, answering questions and distributing information on benefits and credits, assisting clients with CRA communications. For example, they can help interpret letters from the CRA, and helping clients access the CRA's digital services. For example, they help clients get an access code for my account, register for my account, and submit documents online. CRA employees at the Northern Service Centers cannot complete income tax and benefit returns and forms, accept payments, receive and send mail, returns, documentation, or forms, provide bulk printout requests, for example, notices of assessment, to tax practitioners or specialists, or provide problem resolution program services such as requesting to expedite a case. The Liaison Officer service is free to owners of small businesses and to self-employed individuals to help them understand their tax obligations. A visit from a liaison officer is 100% confidential. The information you choose to discuss will not be shared with other areas of the CRA or anyone else. Businesses or self-employed individuals can book a personalized visit, available in person, by phone, or online through Microsoft Teams. Associations or groups can book an in-person seminar or online webinar. For more information on how to book a free virtual visit, go to canada.ca/CRA-liaison-officer. You must always be cautious if you receive communication that claims to be from the CRA. It is possible to receive a direct communication from the CRA. We may, for example, need to ask you to provide information about your account or to clarify something that you've shared with us. We will not ask you for your credit card or passport number or use threats or intimidation tactics. Scammers often attempt to imitate the CRA to try to steal your personal information. They may target you by telephone, text, instant messaging, email, or mail. Here's how you can be scam smart. Never be afraid to question why the CRA needs your personal information. When in doubt, check My Account to see if you have any mail or any amount owing. You can also call the CRA to check on communications. If you're still in doubt, delete, delete, delete. To learn more, go to canada.ca/b-scam-smart. You can also check out our Be Scam Smart webinar on the individual video gallery on canada.ca. I'll provide more details on this in a moment. We would like to invite you to try out our new online interactive tool called Learn About Your Taxes. Go to canada.ca/learn-about-taxes to dive in and check it out. This online self-directed tool takes you through the purpose of taxes, completing a basic tax return, and more. It has resources such as videos, common tax terms, and links to websites where you can learn more. And there are lesson plans for teachers and facilitators. And that's all for me. This is the end of our webinar. Thank you for joining us today. We hope that it was helpful. For more information on any related topics, visit our webpage at canada.ca/taxes. To view previous and register for upcoming webinars, visit our upcoming events webpage at canada.ca/CRA-outreach-events. Thank you for listening and enjoy your day. Miigwech.